And if you're catching the replay, hey you. I am going to get started. Let me clean up my screen just a little bit. There we go. So I'm not going to hold for too long, but I might wait a moment or two. I'm reading from my book today. I co-authored a book. When did we do this? This book has been out for a minute. This book came out in 2020. First originally published in 2020. It took us about, just because we're in different parts of the Midwest, it took us about 2 years to write it, publish it, take it to print, everything. So this is just my copy. I know it's my copy by this little mark in here. But I'm excited. I'm going to read a few pages with you so that you know to go get this book. So the reason why I'm doing this book, Read Aloud, is because recently I have gotten a lot of calls about producing this into a movie, or taking it to film. I would rather say that. Take it to film. So it could be a movie, a series, and there are interested buyers. So I wanted to start sharing and promoting this book because I kind of just let it sit on the shelf for some years. It's 2024. We're about to go into 2025 in a few months. It's been sitting on the shelf for a hot minute. Even though it's been in production, even though it's been circulating, even though it's been on a few tables, as far as the writers, the authors actually promoting the book, we didn't do a good job. Don't tell nobody. But I'm super proud of this book. It was written by Cindy DeLong, myself, and also Lisa Tucker. All three of us have different exposure to the mental health and community, as far as that's our work, that's our jobs. So there's social workers, clinician social workers, and then myself, a certified community psychologist. So the three of us collaborated. We wrote this book, and we wrote this book with specific people in mind as far as demographics, but it's really for anybody. So anyway, if you haven't already seen it, it is called Beautifully Broken. To me, it's showing backwards, but hopefully to you, it is front facing. So anyway, I'm reading from Beautifully Broken today. Again, it was published in 2020. All right, so we would like to dedicate this book to our ancestors who paved the way to make it possible for our voices to be heard. We would like to dedicate this book to our families who have encouraged and supported us through the sharing of our journey in the work of love. Lastly, but not least, this book is dedicated to those battling mental health issues, especially warriors of depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, PTSD, addictions, and suicide. Additionally, this book is dedicated to all of the survivors and those battling with issues of sexual abuse and trauma. We want to honor the women of color, especially Black women, as you walk through your journey of recovering to healing. So, Beautifully Broken is dedicated to all of those. Um, so we'll get into the first chapter. Lost Dolls. She took a deep breath and blew them out slowly as directed by her therapist. Inhale deep and hold for 7 seconds, then release slowly. Casey relaxed and eased into the oversized recliner across from Dr. Lisa. She had been seeking professional care for years, and it had taken her years to break through and to be comfortable telling her story. She wanted to free the little girl inside that was broken and afraid. She had big dreams and needed to release her fears to get to them. Repeating after Dr. Lisa, "What do I think of when I hear broken dolls?" She thought for a moment as she eased in and wrapped up in the comfort blanket. It was my 6th birthday. My mother had just put me in my favorite yellow dress and did my hair in pigtails. I had yellow ribbons too. I felt like a baby doll the way she pampered me. I twirled around so much I got dizzy. I had never been so happy. Back then, birthdays always made me happy. My grandmother, Miss O, had just baked my favorite cake, strawberry shortcake. I even had a strawberry shortcake doll. She was my favorite. I took her everywhere. My grandma O would put the biggest strawberries on top just for me. She and I picked him out of her garden. I was my mother and father's only child, so I didn't have to share. I love my Grandma O and her cake. Man, I would pay to taste it now. Casey continued to get lost in her memory. I wore socks that had ruffles around the top, and with my shiny white church shoes, I loved the sound of the tap when I walked. My birthday party was that day, and Mama said I would be the prettiest little girl in the room. It was my day. She's always said I was growing up too fast, and I must say I had to agree with her. I felt like a princess spinning around every which way. Thank you for the likes, y'all. I had only one wish, to have my father there to celebrate. He had passed away the summer of my fifth birthday. He was shot outside by some man. My only wish, but it wasn't going to come true. Crazy how many days I would wish he just walked through the door. It makes any little girl grow up faster than she wants, having no daddy to hug and protect her. I wish I could smell his cologne or hear him say, "Baby girl, come give your old pop one of them hugs you got." My daddy was my favorite person on earth. Now he's my favorite person in heaven. He would have loved to see me in my yellow dress. It was his and I's favorite color. He said yellow was his favorite because the car, well, excuse me. He said yellow was the color of his first car and he loved it. It was my favorite color. The prettiest flowers at my grandma's house were yellow in the spring. Casey felt a sensation of hurt come over her. This beautiful woman was turning back into a 6-year-old girl. She was a deep hued chocolate brown and her skin glowed in the sun. She had almond-shaped eyes, and if you stared too long, you would get lost in them. They were They were accentuated by her high cheekbones, flowing black hair, and her love for expensive makeup. My mother's boyfriend stopped by. He said he wanted to take me for a ride to get soda and candy. I was so excited to go. I grabbed my doll and I ran to the car before he could get out of the house. I wanted lemon heads because we would blow on the box and it would sound like a horn. He took me to the store, and we got just that. He said, "Baby girl, I will take you to play if you promise not to get dirty." I squealed with excitement. I must have said yes 1,000 times. We drove right past my mother's house. I remember looking out the window as we passed by, and he said, "Sit back." When I did, he put his hand on my doll's leg and said she liked it, but I didn't. I moved her to the other side. He touched my leg. I told him no, I want to go home, but he said, "No, we are going to go play." We got to the park. No one was there. When we got out, he told me he wanted to show me his favorite spot. So we walked past the playground to where a little stream flowed. It was peaceful and so calm. He said, "Sit with me," and I did. I ate my candy and sipped my bottle of strawberry Fanta. He touched my leg again, but this time when I moved, he gripped me so hard. Casey began to rub her thighs where he grabbed her. He stuck his hands in my panties. I was so scared I kicked him. He laughed and asked why didn't I want to play. He unzipped his pants and showed me his. Casey began to squirm around in the chair. Dr. Lisa noticed how uncomfortable she was. "Casey, take a deep breath. You're doing really well, but this is going to be hard, what I ask you." What happened next? Casey began to breathe deep. She struggled for a little, but just kept going. He touched me. Like with his. He said I was so pretty in yellow and I looked like my mom. He started to, in front of me. I threw up all over my yellow dress. And when I did, he quickly stopped. He said I ruined my birthday, and if I told my mom, I would ruin her day too. Now I know it's not true, but then I believed it. I got up, walked back to the car. I looked down and saw my doll. I threw up on her too. So he took it and threw her in the stream. That was the last time I saw her. My daddy gave me that doll. She was gone forever, and so was my childhood. I was never the same after that. Dr. Lisa was uncomfortable as well, but asked, "What did you tell your mother that day about the dress and what happened to your doll?" Casey looked down. "Nothing. She whooped me because I messed up my dress." Casey and Dr. Lisa went on to talk about how life changed and if there was another time she felt that way. Casey said, "Yes, only once. There's a man that I love, and he and I had been together secretly in the beginning. Then, just like that, I remember my doll floating away, and I couldn't get to her. I saw him drift away, and I couldn't have him. He would never be mine like that again." Dr. Lisa knew they were just hitting on something, but The session was coming to a close. Casey, this week I want you to journal. Tell your truth and write it plainly. When you return, we will do an exercise with it. Casey understood and agreed. She thanked Dr. Lisa and gave her a hug. As soon as she got to the parking garage, she called Beyond. There was no answer. Hey, boo, I just left therapy. I need a fucking drink and a laugh. Call me back. Casey took a deep breath before starting the car engine. Casey, you can do this. It's time to be free. I am going to be free. Breaking news. If you just joined and I'm reading from my book that I co-authored, Beautifully Broken. Breaking news, Marsha's regret. I knew her secrets. I tried to encourage her, but to what avail? She committed suicide anyway. Imagine that. A sister that commits suicide instead of being a strong, black, independent woman. We are supposed to be the load bearers and never break, so we've been told. A black woman feels overwhelmed and tired, and people act as if it's unheard of. But we know, especially in our neck of the woods, we get tired. Man, everybody knows that she had a great chance of being murdered in New Orleans rather than offing herself. Unbelievable. I am both angry and sad, especially when I think about her babies she's left behind. Casey, why? Why were you so selfish? Princeton and Naomi need you, and now they are left motherless to face the big cruel world alone. Taylor may partly blame me because of Casey's suicide, but I kind of knew that Casey wasn't herself after saying the words, I wish I were dead, more than 8 times last week. Should I feel this heavy burden of guilt, or did the main responsibility of finding herself rest on Casey? This is going to be the saddest time in our lives ever. Asking for therapeutic words. Marsha called Taylor. Hey, Taylor, this is Marsha. I was calling to see if you could pay to say a few therapeutic words of wisdom at Casey's funeral on Friday. Taylor responded, Yes, Marsha. I would be honored to say a few words at Casey's funeral. I would have to cancel my book signing at Black and Noble in Philly, but I can afford to miss at least one book signing during the book tour. She was our dear friend. Also, I wanted to make sure that her children knew just how loved she was and that they should not lose hope. Do you know what's going to happen to the children? Didn't Ed lose custody of them during their lengthy divorce? Marsha replied, Taylor, I don't know. Miss Deborah asked me to be in charge of the funeral, everything about the funeral, Casey's chaotic life. Her darling children it's still too fresh to mentally process, but I'm working close with her family to make sure she has an excellent homegoing service. I should know more by the end of the week or when you get here, so ask me then. Okay, Marsha, thank you for calling. You can count on me to do my part, said Taylor. Marsha agreed and said, I know, because you are every woman, as Whitney would say. Congrats on your book tour. Your success is so huge. You're definitely going to be the sight for sore eyes. Talk to you soon, girl. That's just Veronica Taylor. If you're just joining, Veronica, get it together. Damn, I am so fucking stressed. My business is just starting to pick up, and now I got to go to Casey's funeral and see all these frenemies again. Casey's friends are so fucking bougie. And how? These niggas is so hood, and it's ridiculous. I hope they aren't stuck on petty things like in high school. Growth, people. I am Mrs. Veronica Taylor, and my presence commands and demands respect. Many call me bougie, and I detest it. I was raised with manners and class. Is that really that strange? Maybe when we all come from the projects, maybe. But now I got the mansion, the Benz, a successful husband. Psh, I'll continue. A-list clients on speed dial, and I got swagger like no other. I look in the mirror. Why am I so dang nervous about this funeral? New Orleans is calling with Casey's phone. That is not how I wanted to go back. Okay, let me do a confidence reality check, because sometimes I do start tripping when I get anxiety. Truthfully, she wasn't sure how she was going to handle seeing her closest friends at the funeral. Tears began to well up as she thought about looking at Casey's body. Seeing my closest friend again will be a rewarding experience and pure heartbreak. I'm sure we will all experience some of the same emotions because Casey had one of those personalities that drew people in and left them wanting more. My own husband couldn't resist her. I was just getting over the jealousy and the grief of her sleeping with Harrison. I almost lost my freaking mind and business when I first found out about them, but I recovered. I decided to invest all my energy into work instead, but now I'm having mood swings again about this whole affair. The feeling of stability never stayed long with me. I always felt nervous around my clients when I'm planning their weddings or organizing an A-list event. I got over the betrayal, but her death strikes up old feelings. People are starting to recognize me for my talents as an event planner, so possibly betrayal made me stronger and my focus more precise. I'm booking client after client these days. It's been like magic since I can't since I can almost mind read my customers' visions and dreams of their event. Everything from the flowers to the music to overall beauty and ambiance in every detail. Hell, I am good at what I do. I make any girl's dream a woman's reality. For a small fortune, of course. Huh, I got to get paid and no freebies or discounts, honey. Veronica, get your emotions back in check. There is a lot of scary and bottled up haunted mess left in New Orleans. I really don't want to go. But Casey was one of my good friends once the betrayal. But Casey was one of my good friends once despite the betrayal. No matter how I felt about her, she deserves a decent burial. And maybe I can still make peace with her somehow. I can't believe I missed the opportunity to talk to her and let her know I had moved on and was no longer bitter about the affair. I truly blame Harrison more than her. He married me. They both blamed it on the alcohol like Jamie Foxx would have. That was the first time. What about the rest? All I know is the man I took my vows with, and Casey, my friend closer than any blood, betrayed me. At the end of the day, sisters before bros, or is it hoes? Because these men can be whores too. I'm a mess. Tears are rolling down my cheeks. Casey, why did you have to leave me? We had unfinished business, and since hearing about your passing, some days I cry and I sob, and other days I'm so angry I want to kill. This was cowardly, Casey, just cowardly. And Harrison, who apologized profusely. Why did he cheat if he didn't want to throw away all we had worked for? I'm such a fucking socialite, and if people knew I couldn't keep my man in check, I would just die from the embarrassment. Why my best friend Harrison? Alcohol is blamed too much. What made him think that forgetting our vows so carelessly was okay? Mixed emotions. Where is Dr. Taylor Rogers when you need her? Mrs. Rogers is living the life. It seems that she is too busy for the likes of me. The famous therapist and author, the poster child for self-help books. Sometimes I think we have a secret competition going on. Who can be the freshest, greatest, and most successful in our circle? Hopefully Taylor and I can get an intimate chat and sip on with our favorite glass of wine while we glisten in Louisiana. While the glistening Louisiana sun kisses our smooth caramel chocolate skin. Okay, let me make my penthouse reservations. Ready or not, Louisiana? Here I come. Dr. Taylor Rogers. Good morning, Black and Noble. This is Sharif. Good morning, Black and Noble. This is Sharif. How may I help you? Hello, this is Taylor Rogers. I need to reschedule my book signing tour scheduled for your location this weekend. I had a close friend pass away, and I must attend her burial, as she was very dear to me and my family. May your friend rise in power, Mrs. Rogers. What date would you like to reschedule that for? Asked the man on the phone. Sharif, my publicist will call you with the new dates in a few days. Je vous remercie. I explained. No problem, Mrs. Rogers, replied Sharif. Casey's death was so untimely as I thought more about it. What tragedy or trauma led to her suicide? She could have talked to me instead of committing this act. I'm never too busy for my closest friends. Social media has opened up more doors to keep in touch. I even wrote a book, 10 Successful Tips for Living the Dream, which targeted depression and suicide, with a few chapters dedicated on healthy living tips to overcome barriers to loving of self. She had a personal copy of it. Suicide? My best friend committed suicide? It's so unfortunate and downright sad. She had a lot to live for. She had children, the most precious gift on earth. Although she thought I had my life together, sometimes I envied her life because she experienced motherhood, which is something I struggle with. The doctor said my reproductive health is perfect, so why can't I conceive? Kevin and I tried to conceive children so many times and nothing. If he's healthy and I'm healthy, only the Lord knows why I'm not pregnant yet. And time is not only not on my side, but since I didn't turn 39 years old, in time, it's not on my side since I just turned 39 years old. But I'm hopeful. Some of my celebrity friends are getting pregnant in their 40s. And I recall Miss Janet Jackson and Halle Berry both conceiving near 50s. Fertility, please bless me. I need to freeze my eggs or something because this pregnancy thing is so stressful on me and Kelvin. People think I have it all when they look at the long money, cars, fame, the husband who has his own successful career and audience, $1.5 million ring, a personal therapist to celebrities and other high profile clients. But just thinking about the difficulties of pregnancy makes my head spin and creates turmoil inside of me. I must conceive naturally. I just must. Marcia Seckley. Hot dog, Taylor and Veronica are coming to the funeral. Now I know we need to get extra security for the funeral. Franklin, could you please recommend a security company to me? Taylor is going to be in attendance, and I don't want people asking for autographs while we are trying to have a funeral service, said Marcia to her husband. Yes, Marcia, I will investigate top security companies for you. Are you sure you can handle all the responsibility of carrying out this funeral, especially since you and Casey were so close? Said Franklin. Of course, Franklin, I can do it. And besides, Rebecca and Beyond offered to help me if I needed it, said Marcia. Beyond is helping you? Asked Franklin. Yes, Franklin, I know you disapprove of Beyond, but he's very talented with interior design, and he'll work himself down to the bone to make sure Casey's funeral is a success. Stay clear of him, Franklin. I know you two don't get along, so just stay clear of him, please. The last thing I need is some type of drama between you and Beyond on funeral day, pleaded Marcia. Baby, I hear you. I have nothing to say to Beyond, so you are worrying for nothing right now. But I do wish he gets his life together. The last thing I need is for his lifestyle to rub off on you. If you start walking around the house in 6-inch stilettos and furs and feathers, then he's rubbing off on you too much. Come on, laugh it out loud. Come on, babe. Franklin, you are so funny sometimes. You know I will never be that flamboyant or fabulous, said Marcia. Marcia, you are already fabulous, so don't forget that. How many of your friends are coming? Asked Franklin. They're all coming. You know, we're all so different nowadays with our different careers and family and lives. The gathering after the funeral should be interesting, to say the least, but I am positive that this tragedy will bring us closer together somehow instead of driving us further apart, said Marcia sadly. Best friends deceived. Casey had returned to her therapist's office. It had been a few weeks, and she felt anxious and overwhelmed with life. With everything going on with Princeton and Naomi, her divorce from Ed, and the strain she felt with her personal relationships, she really wasn't sure how well she was managing. Hi, Casey. Glad to see you again. This session we are starting with our deep breathing exercises, okay? Casey managed her way to the large sofa in the therapist's office. She snuggled in and placed her shades on her face. She wore her large, dark glasses to feel like she was not too exposed. She took in long, deep breaths, held it, and then released it. She did this several times and was able to calm down within. Casey began to open up more with each visit. She felt at ease to tell more of her life without judgment. She couldn't tell her friends everything because her biggest secret included them. Casey couldn't tell her family because she worked so hard to be different than them. They would throw it in her face how much like them she still was. Casey started to tell the therapist how she felt followed everywhere she went. Dr. L, I swear, everywhere I go, there is this feeling I'm being watched. She told her about how she went to the grocery store, and every aisle she went on, she thought a man had watched her. But she just figured it was stress until she heard an unknown man was checking with her clients. In the back of her mind, she swore it was Beyond, but he was her friend. Why would her good friend and business associate stalk her? Casey spoke about feeling so paranoid. She placed cameras around her home. She kept them recording all the time. No one could go in and out of her home without being seen. She was not comfortable being at home alone, with or without her kids. Casey finally relaxed enough. She had been walking around the city feeling crazy, but her therapist reassured her that she was safe. With the police, security surveillance, and her children being close to her, she would be okay. Casey accepted that, but she knew something was not right. Casey eased off her glasses, sat up just a bit. Doc, I haven't told you what affects me the most. The doctor twisted a bit in her chair and adjusted her crossed legs. Casey, take a couple of breaths and tell me whenever you are ready. Casey felt a heat wave come across her forehead. Why did she have to be in this position? She wondered. Well, truthfully, it's hard to articulate because no matter how I say it, it's bad. Casey, I hear you saying it's hard to find the words, but just know when it's time to release something, it's in your control and timing. She took another deep breath. I met a man when I was a freshman in college. I loved him since. That's a beautiful thing. What makes you feel like it's difficult? Your divorce is final, or really close, right? Yes, my divorce is in its final stages. It's difficult to be with him, and honestly, he stopped talking to me a few months ago. He is married. He is going to divorce his wife. He told me years ago he considered it, but even then, we could never be together. That's why I married Ed. His wife Veronica, my best friend since I was a kid. You know, the one I talk about sometimes. She knows everything about me except for this. But one day she will need to know, and I want to tell her. But how? Wow, Casey, we will have to unpack this one. It's so much to walk around with for years. How does this make you feel? Personally, I have mixed feelings. I knew him before her, and when I learned that they were dating, I was already pregnant with Princeton. I just held on to my secret and told him he wasn't the father. I told him about Ed instead. But really, we had so much fire between us, we didn't think enough about our spouses. Casey continued to tell the therapist details until her session came to a close. She felt like so much weight had come off her shoulders. She had never told anyone about her continuous relationship with Harrison. Casey completed another round of breathing exercises and gave the doctor a hug. She walked out of the office and felt the light of the sun beating down on her skin. She still had on her shades, but the rays broke through. It felt good, she thought. Her phone buzzed in her purse. She pulled it out. It was a message from Harrison, speaking of the man himself. She knows about us, everything, even our past. I'm sorry. I love my wife. Casey felt like Harrison's text was a coward thing to do. He should have called. All the weight of the world came rushing onto her shoulders. How did she know? Who told her? I wanted to tell her. This is so wrong. She started walking and then quicker. She started walking and then quicker until she was running to her car. Fumbling with her keys, she made her way in. She sunk down into the seat. Damn it. I can't call Marsha or Taylor. She probably already has. This is heavy. Casey figured to wait on their calls. She knew Taylor was bound to call her as soon as she got off the phone with Veronica. Good and bad news traveled fast. She thought to turn around and go back into the building to talk to her therapist. She would have even paid extra, but instead she turned on her car and drove home. She needed a friend, but whom could she call? She couldn't imagine what Veronica felt. What kind of friend was she to keep a secret so long? She decided to call Beyond. He was crazy and wild. She trusted he wouldn't judge her. Casey rushed home to hide away. Her world was changing more than she knew, and it wasn't in her timing or control. Date night. Kelvin, baby, we need to hurry up. The movie starts at 7:30 tonight, and I don't want to miss it because I really need to clear my head a bit. How are you doing, Taylor? I've been worried about you since the passing of your friend and, the miscarriage. Have you told any of your girlfriends about your miscarriage? No, I haven't, Kelvin. And I'm not ready to tell anyone about it, especially Miss Veronica. She is so judgmental, and I don't feel like dealing with her bullshit and questions. She would somehow find a way to blame me for the miscarriage, so I couldn't discuss it with her or anybody right now. Besides, now is not the time, nor will it be the place to talk about a subject so emotional to me, as well as dealing with Casey's death. Calvin, Casey's suicide is pain enough for me right now. Please don't mention the miscarriage. I swear, if it wasn't for Marsha's efforts to keep us all together, I wouldn't even associate with Veronica. She's always trying to compete with me, although there was no official contest. I know, Tay, I know. I understand your decision, and I respect it as well. Please let me finish getting ready, Calvin, so we can go. All right, babe. Calvin went into the bathroom to finish getting dressed, and as I walked into the bathroom to apply my makeup, I let out a sigh and thought to myself, ugh, now he had me thinking about Veronica. Why was I wasting so much brain space on her? As I took out my favorite lipstick, I remembered Veronica was the one who gave it to me. It was a deep burgundy color. She said it would look good against my caramel skin, and she was right. Next, I put on my favorite gold eyeshadow. Marcia gave that to me. I love playing in makeup. Ugh, I just can't stand Veronica with her bougie ass. She didn't know I knew about the affair, but I was glad Casey took Harrison up on his offer. Harrison was a nice guy, and he deserved better than Veronica's trifling ass. If only Miss Veronica knew the truth, she'd be put to shame. But it would be good to see my dear friend Marcia. Lord knows she was the real person while we were all still close acquaintances. Well, some of us. My thoughts drifted off to Casey. Poor Casey. I wish she would have. Taylor. I must have jumped 3 feet off the ground because I did not hear Kelvin calling my name. Taylor, baby. Oh, Kelvin, I'm sorry. I was daydreaming. Taylor, I called your name for like 5 minutes. Did you not notice me standing there? I'm sorry, Kelvin. I was just thinking about Casey's suicide, the girls, and going back to Louisiana. None of these things make sense. I just don't think Casey would have killed herself. There must have been more to this. Tay, baby, let me put your mind at ease. I know what that means. I love you. I love you too, Taylor. As Kelvin took me in his arms and placed his full lips on my breast, I could feel the warmth building up between my legs. Wow, baby, you are so juicy down there. Kelvin, you are such a good lover, and I'm so lucky to have the total package in you. As Kelvin entered me, I let out a sigh of lustfulness. Oh, God, yes. We'll skip a little bit of this. Give me all of you. You feel so good inside. Our bodies came as one as our lovemaking became more intense. Kelvin thrust his 9 inches inside of me. So sweet. Don't stop, Kelvin. Taylor. Oh, yes. We are going to miss the show. Yes, baby, we are. Chaos in my head. I'm just going to read a few more minutes. Let me see. Yeah. I'm going to have a few more pages. Oh, Lord, I feel so tense. Casey's family is acting so ghetto. When did I become the sole person to plan Casey's funeral and burial? I know Casey had a life insurance policy, but who has it? What is it being spent on? Definitely not on her funeral arrangements. Now, I know I got to put these expenses on my credit card. Things I do for friends. When a person is a true friend, then you feel kind of guilty and obligated to pay is if she or he is being thrown under the bus by their whole family. And this is exactly the case. I am glad that Beyond and Rebecca are coming to my rescue today. Thank you, Lord, for answering my prayers about this funeral. This is Marsha. Thanks for sending me helpers. I know most of my friends don't like Rebecca. Please, Lord, keep Rebecca safe from emotional and mental harm when my besties arrive. Now, the next subject. Lord. Could you please stop me and Franklin from fighting so much over having a child? I am not ready for this. I may be 38 years old, but the clock is ticking loud, very loudly in Franklin's ear. But Father God, I am not ready for motherhood. I like being active in the civil rights community. I love my career. I am just now getting recognized for my talents and gaining extra responsibilities at the law firm. Anyways, things will work out fine by your grace. And if having a child is in my future, then God, please bless us. And remember, I am not in a hurry at all. Please, Lord, will you stop Franklin's family from pestering us about the maternity issue over and over and over again? It causes us such marital discord and stress. And how am I to ensure that our firstborn child is a baby boy? I cannot lie. Lord, these African traditions get on my last good nerve, and they are more than and there are more things that consummate a marriage than just child rearing. Christ Jesus, I need peace in my life, or else my career and my dreams may be over. And it's just starts to take off properly. You know, Lord, I am reaching for the stars and the moon and the universe, but I don't have to be super wealthy like my friends, just content enough with who I am. My 2 babies, Ronnie and Ted, are my only kiddos I need right now, to be quite honest. I love my dogs. They always make me smile. They put a smile on mommy's face. The only thing I hate is how freaking much hair they shed on my carpet and furniture. I guess that's what I get for purchasing 2 male German Shepherds, but Lord forgive me. God, I got off subject. Please see fit to help me through all this. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Okay, let me hurry up and meet Rebecca and Beyond. The meetup. Miss Marsha is in the house, shouted Beyond in the restaurant, followed by a super long hug and giggle. Hi, Beyond. I am so glad to see you. You are a sight for sore eyes. I'm so impressed. You made it on time and everything. Did you have to cancel a lot for your fabulous hair appointments to be here? Asked Marsha. Marsha, please, girlie, don't remind me of the dividends I am missing out on right now. It's a lot of tax-free cash, okay? Goodbye, $250,000. Hopefully my trainee doesn't fuck up my good reputation with my clients. I had to shut down about 35 glam appointments, and he better give me my 20% is all I'm saying, because he's putting all my dividends in his brown paper bag for the next few weeks. Also, I have a lifestyle to maintain. I live in Beverly Hills, and my house rent is a fortune, and living by the lake ain't easy. Let's just say I'm missing out on a lot, Marsha, my dear friend. However, you are a priority in my life as well, and I love Casey too. She put me on one, and I can never repay her for all the referrals she's given me time after time after time, said Beyond. Beyond, you are a very important person in my life too, and a good friend to me. And the rest of our circle and I love you for taking your time out to help me with Casey's funeral. No problem, Marcia. How much I would have done already? How much have you done already? Asked Beyond. I've done a few things like called Taylin, Veronica, and ordered security. Also, Casey's family did some little things here and there as well. I mostly need help with the interior and exterior decorations, and we may need to pick out a casket if her family doesn't come through with the funds, said Marcia. What? Pick out a casket? Why are you doing all of this? Didn't Casey have life insurance? Why is her family putting such a huge burden on you? Shouted Beyond. To be honest, I don't know what they are doing over there, and they seem to be completely useless as it relates to Casey's funeral. Beyond, I am dealing with a lot of bull right now, and happiness is far from my mind. So thanks for being here once again. I really need you around to bring my happy back. The decorations and funeral theme is what I envisioned that you could do best. It's such a sad occasion for me. Therefore, I don't think I can convey a good homegoing in this state. Not in this state of mind. You are best with decor and arrangements, my sweet friend, so I guess being gay does have some benefits. And it's usually involving fashion, said Marcia. Marcia, you are totally stereotyping me, right? Why must the gorgeous gay white male be the one to know how to superbly decorate, pick out colors, and coordinate themes? Seriously, I am only human, and the only difference is that I prefer my male counterparts in relationships. I tried the girlfriend thing, but it wasn't working for me. It seemed like all hell broke loose when I tried to date a girl. Marsha, I love who I love, point blank and period. But on the non serious note, you stereotype and profile me well. I kind of like how you see me through that Johari window. Thanks for your faith in me, Marsha. Well, don't stop now. Tell me more about my gorgeous self. Explained Beyond. What is a Johari window, Beyond? Said Marsha. It's a window how you see yourself. It's a window how you see yourself, how others see you, and somewhere in there lies the truth about you. Explained Beyond. They laughed out loud as their eyes connected together in genuine trust, love, and respect. Did y'all order my sushi yet? Asked Rebecca. No, sweetheart. Marsha and I were just catching up on a few things, said Beyond. Good. You haven't ordered yet because I'm starving. How are you, Marsha? Are you keeping your head up? Asked Rebecca. Yes, I am, Rebecca. Thank you for caring. I am glad you made it to our luncheon today to focus on Casey's funeral arrangements, answered Marcia. Of course, Marcia, it's my pleasure. Let's eat, exclaimed Rebecca. The waitress took their orders. I'm amazed at the amount of raw seafood you and Beyond eat. I guess I've never jumped on that bandwagon. The only sushi I can stand to eat is the California rolls, explained Marcia. Marcia, you need to acquire a taste for the finer things like raw or seared meats, for example, rare steaks and sushi. Also, you need to get your organic food. You need to up your organic foods too. It's truly the healthier choice, said Rebecca. When did you get so educated about raw naked flesh? Asked Beyond in a seductive way. Ever since I fucked your little blue eyes and blonde headed brother, shouted Rebecca in defense. Beyond was blown away. So it's true. You did fuck my little brother, huh? Shame on you, asserted Beyond. No, shame on you, but on the real, it was a very long time ago, said Rebecca. Oh God, Rebecca, hush your mouth, said Marcia. Well, he started it by doubting all my intellectual abilities, as if I am a dumb white blonde that always needs to a good get a good fuck. I saw it in his eyes, as she bounced orgasmically in her chair. Me love you, me love you, big black, long time. Rebecca yelled playfully. Rebecca, shouted Marcia. What, Marcia? I am speaking the truth. Doesn't Franklin F you good too? Stressed Rebecca. Rebecca and Beyond, let's have a more civil conversation over lunch about the arrangements versus discussing your wild sex lives, okay? insisted Marcia. Okay, but please tell Beyond to leave me alone. And yes, you are right, Marcia, said Rebecca. We are here to help you with the funeral since all your other friends are taking their sweet time getting here. And I agree with you. Let's put all the jokes aside for the moment, concluded Beyond. Marcia, what do you want me to do for Casey's funeral? Asked Rebecca. Rebecca, we can figure that out later. But for now, your presence here with me is enough, shared Marcia. Oh, Marcia, I am so sorry for your loss. I can tell you are truly heartbroken over Casey's death. What happened? Why did she commit suicide? Why are they burying her so quickly? Usually black folks take their precious time putting people in the ground or on top of the ground. She was a strong sister. She was so outgoing. Suicide seems very out of her character, said Rebecca. Beyond interrupted. What I want to know is what's going to happen to her children. From what you tell me, Marcia, Casey's family is in no shape to take care of Princeton and Naomi. We cannot let Casey's children grow up in the projects. The kids need to be upgraded, and I can help you with that if you need me to. I know people. Casey would roll over in her grave if her children were raised in the projects. Did she have a will? I would think she would have. Casey was one smart cookie, wondered Beyond. Beyond, I don't think she ever wrote a will because she was young, in her 30s, and who thinks about wills at that age? Even I don't have a will yet, indicated Marcia. Oh, fuck. I hope Casey's family don't start acting like Bobby Brown's family when they smelt the late great Whitney Houston and her daughter's money jingling, commented Beyond. A full investigation needs to be done into this matter. This is why I am questioning it. Why is her family trying to bury her so fast? Hypothesized Rebecca. They finished their lunches and decided to meet up later again that evening at 5:30 p.m. to discuss strategizing the funeral and burial arrangements. As they packed up from the luncheon, Marcia said excitedly, I am so thankful that both of you are here helping me with this. Getting everything done should go a lot quicker now. Thanks for having my back, Rebecca and Beyond. Let's do this. Everyone gave each other a hug and left the restaurant in good spirits. So that's the first 28 pages of Beautifully Broken. And the three main characters, there's actually four main characters. The four main characters are Casey, Veronica, Marcia, and Taylin, and then their counterparts. And as you can hear, we're just getting started with the book. So much more to go. But anywho, Casey, the main character of the story, she passes away, and it is not clear how she passed away, but it is assumed so far in this book that she has committed suicide. And it's about to pick up because it's an urban drama. But anyway, Beyond and Rebecca will be playing even bigger roles as the chapters go on. As well, the affair that Veronica's husband, Harrison, which is also Casey's, her old flame. And, you know, Casey and Veronica are best friends. So the relationship of how Veronica lost Harrison will be coming up. So how did Casey and Harrison get together? That's going to come up in a minute. So if you don't know, it's Beautifully Broken. Beautifully Broken is available on Amazon.com as well as BarnesandNobles.com. So if you are interested in getting this book and not waiting on me to do a read along, definitely go ahead and check it out. As well, as I said in the beginning, this book has been shopped around, not only in the United States, but the book has made its way to some other countries and is potentially going to film. So I wanted to just highlight this book and put more people on it, make people aware of it. And if we can create some buzz, let's create some buzz. Because as y'all know, Tyler Perry, I'm not telling you to call me, but what I am telling you is you need to get some new writers. And people like us have put books out that are far better than what's on Netflix, Amazon Prime, and at the movie theaters right now. This book is about to get real turned up. So if you catch this replay and you want me to keep reading, drop in the comments, keep reading, because I will read this whole book. So yeah, Well, thank y'all for watching. It is a beautiful Sunday. I saw a few people come in and go out, So if you do want to make your way back around, again, it's beautifully broken. Bye, y'all.